Welcome to another edition of the Paranormal Zone. I'm your co-host, Tom Spitalere, and Bob's here. Hi, Bob. How we doing?
How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing great. And I want to welcome to today's show is going to be a little interesting. So, as you guys know, we look for things in demonology, paranormal, UFO, cryptozoology, and we got another gentleman on today, Father Mark Warren from the Old Catholic Church of Louisville, based out of North Carolina. Welcome, Father.
Hello.
How are we doing today? How's the weather out there?
It is. The weather's going good today, and I'm doing very good.
Oh, good. So, I mean, I've interviewed a lot of demonologists, Bob. I've interviewed a lot of demonologists, and everybody has their own way of doing things.
Yeah.
So, why don't you explain to me, our great listeners from all over the globe, how you got into demonology?
I started out back in 2012 with a paranormal team. And it started out as Carolina Ghost Whispers Investigations. And I did that from 2 years. And so, fast forward, I felt the calling to pursue forward. And so I met Bishop James Long through the paranormal community and met with him, taught him. And so that's where I took some classes under him, and then kind of went, independent a little bit. And so fast forward from there, due to some conflict with another team we're working with and everything, I just said, you know what, I don't think this is going to happen. So I spoke with him, Bishop James, and I said, hey, Bishop, would you mind if I worked with church and, became a demonologist for the church and everything? So that was where I continued my training and took it under him and started doing that. So going on from there, I felt led by God to go become a priest. So I went into seminary the first time, and being raised Protestant between Southern Baptist and Pentecostal Free Will Baptist, it just it wasn't cutting out. And time I was working for Amazon, so I temporarily dropped out. So I prayed about it, and James gave me the opportunity to come on with the Benedictine order with our church, the Old Catholic Benedictine Immaculate Mary, which is what we have within the United States Old Catholic Church. So I went on, took my permanent vows, and still felt led by God to become a priest. So went back to seminary, continued, got ordained to the priesthood, and so now what I've done is taken my paranormal team and brought it in for ministry purposes now. So, and that is where we mainly take cases under demonology, things like that, for the church, and take on cases. We still occasionally, from time to time, go and visit haunted locations, but we are kind of trying to, more focus on helping people that have got stuff going on in their lives. So that's where it is now going more of, instead of basing it haunted location, we're doing client cases now.
Oh, okay.
Well, let me ask you a question. Before into this, has the Catholic kind of softened their approach to paranormal, ghosts, spirits, and so forth?
Yes. With the old Catholics, we are validly Catholic through apostolic succession,
Right.
even though we're not in communion with Rome. So we still respect the Pope. We still, when it comes to Mass, we have to go by the rubrics. Performing Mass. We still do all sacraments. We're just what are called Old Catholics or Independent Catholics. And Pope John Paul II and Pope Benedict XVI both even have declared that, Old Catholics were validly through apostolic succession. It is, we're just independent from them, which means we don't get stipends, we don't get paid, we don't get those retirements and everything like this because of it.
Wow.
Because of the fact we're independent. So a lot of us, we are, we have to have our own jobs and everything, but we still kind of keep up with what's going on in Rome and everything, and Roman Catholic Church, and from my understanding on it, they're starting to be more acceptable to it and everything, and they just, they recognize the existence of ghosts, but they're more of, be careful with it and, pray for, the souls. Mostly.
Yeah, because I've been in the paranormal world 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm also a practicing Catholic, and
Yeah.
I never quite understood. I ended the philosophy, the reasoning for it, but it just never changed the way I feel about Jesus and God.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then the Virgin Mary, frankly, it never changed mine, him raising from the dead. Yeah, so interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe we kick this off by helping our listeners understand what a demon is.
Yes. So, the demon is what we know as, and it's even in the paranormal community, listed as an inhuman spirit, which means that it is, they never walked this earth in a human form and everything. So what they are fallen angels, which the primary purpose is to, because they reject God, they rebel against God, and that's why they fell. So what their purpose is to do is to attack God by going after us. So basically what demons are fallen angels that try to wreak havoc and things like that and problems to hurt God by going after us, because we were created in God's image.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike angels and demons, they never created like that. That's why they're considered pure spirit.
All right, I have a question. That's very, very interesting, okay? Up this way, I've worked with, and I'm friends with a few different demonologists up this way, okay? And one of the ones I work with is actually a Christian, born again Christian.
Yeah.
And his ideals, he never called them demons. He calls them parasites.
Yeah.
So what's your take on that? I mean,
that's a very good question. I think it is more of, the term, depending on the denomination, things like that, is the way I read it and seen it under my mind is that's, demons is what their true names are. But they are, the way they do things is like parasite, almost, because they do it is they go through the weak. They go after to go after a target, and slowly through the process, just, infest, oppress, and possess. So it's like attaches just to the target, and then it slowly takes on until possession takes place.
So
I think it's more of, it's just different opinion. I wouldn't say opinion, but more of what I want to call it. But most of the ones I've talked to and come across, we call them demons.
Yeah, I mean, most people do. Yeah.
A question for you, Amanda. Is demonology to study demons, or is it actually to remove demons? Or is it both?
To me, it's both.
I'll let you go first.
To me, it's both. I mean, Father, I worked on a few demonics myself through these, so I don't call my demonologist. If it got that bad, I've worked with a demonologist just in the area from New England that know what they're doing. So they but I do handle a lot of cases throughout the years. It started off as mind off, and people go, "Oh, it's mine. We don't need anybody," and keep feeding. And I had a case years ago, Father. This is interesting. It was during COVID. I never shut down during COVID because this is an emergency to me. What's an emergency? A kid getting thrown down a flight of stairs and elevated at 2 a.m. from something unseen. That's an emergency to me.
Yeah.
It might not be for a governor or a leader of our great nation that shut down the world, but to me, that's an emergency. Someone passing away to go give final rites to an emergency. The fight of emergency, no one could, so I kept Essex County going, plain and simply. So I had this case out in the Berkshires of Massachusetts. Beautiful area, all wooded. It looks like the mountains of New Hampshire, or oh God, what's that area down on the Virginia? Oh, God. It was in Mountain Men. That area out there, it's all mountains and woods, basically, okay?
Yeah.
But this was a veterans housing unit, and the guy had a lot of meds. But he also had something attached to him. Between the meds, mental issues, and everything else, I was out there at least 5 times. And that's a good 2-hour ride from my house.
Yeah.
But we ended up working on it and helping the guy out the best we could. I mean, some of us are never going to get helped out, because what I noticed in a lot of these bad cases, demonic cases, parasitic cases, the people they latch on to are usually victims of something major and traumatic, medicated heavily because they have a million different health issues, and they can't fight these things off. But I see.
Yeah. And that's what they do. It is, and that's why where the term parasite comes from is because they do the way they do things is like a parasite, and they feed off that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the trauma, unresolved issues, traumatic events take place, and it's not properly taken care of, they feed off that stuff.
So being somewhat of a neo to the subject, because we filed and I thank God, I've dealt with demonic and others. I've been in the world of paranormal, but it intrigues me. How do we know when we're called into a demonic possession that it's Satan or one of the 7 devils? I guess. Satan or Satan, or it's mental illness. I mean, I would think that's so difficult
it is.
To look at a client, a victim, I guess in this case, say this poor individual has mental illness, or this poor individual has been taken over by Satan. Are there signs that show the difference?
Yes. So normally how the proper procedure would be done is let's say someone reaches out, whether it's me or one of the other Tommy Bishop, about to be Bishop Tommy, him or Bishop James or one of the other ones, and they say, hey, this is going on. There may be possession. What would happen is we would have we would ask questions like, has the person ever been evaluated before, things like that. We would have to go through a medical or psychological evaluation. We would have a tow out to the house to investigate, look for signs of demonic activity. Because if there's always that, normally there can be times where it was something in the home already. But you would have to go out, investigate the home, look for signs of it, and then, like I said, the next procedure would be if you have someone claiming in their possession, you have to have a medical and psychological evaluation to depend on whether is it mental illness or is it not, or possession. And then once the evaluations come back and say it's not illness, then that is where church would have to get involved and say, do we need to perform Solomon rite of exorcism on the person? So, and what you would do is there would be certain what we call kind of like we would do to see if there is any sort of kind of like provocation in a sense to get it to show somewhat show itself. But once it was confirmed that the solemnite needs to be performed, then that is where an exorcism would be performed, because the difference between the two is we all know of multiple personality disorders, schizophrenia, those types of things. Possession does mimic, so that's have to have those evaluations done, and then you have medical problems that can also. So, for example, what would really be not normal is, let's say the person's never learned foreign language like German, Latin, whatever.
Right.
And all of a sudden they start speaking German or Latin or whatever language it may be, and things like that. Also, you would lower for possession is if the person starts knowing things that you may have never told them. So you never have never told them anything from your past they don't know you. And they start saying things from your past or your family's past that you never say anything to them about. That's another sign of it. Superhuman strength. For, let's say, a 130 pound and soaking wet, it is having to be held down by 2, 3, 4 grown men. That's what would be considered superhuman strength, levitation, things like that. Those types of things of what possession would, like the key points of what possession would look like compared to someone that's got multiple personality disorder with having that. So that's why those key things main what you look for. Is there, besides of the other parts that mental illness, mimic, is there other stuff going on top of that?
Keep going, sir.
Okay. So,
hello?
But yes, so that is where the difference between the two.
Very, very, very interesting. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
What happened was Bob got cut off. Bob calls into the
listen,
station.
I think I think Satan's in my phone. Get me out.
All right. Yeah, I'm here. Get back. All right. So the scriptures teach us that God casted out sinful angels from the heaven who became demons. Why not just destroy them?
And that goes back to, we have to look at is, by destroying them, there would be no, it wouldn't be evil. Kind of like the yin and yang. You've got good, there has to be evil to balance it out.
Right.
Because if there is no evil, then it would just be good, and it would be violating free will.
And we
so
exactly.
In order for there to be good, there has to be other.
Right. And the other thing is, what are you destroying? So years and years ago,
yeah.
I went to a house that had possession to it. It was very minor, not like the exorcism or anything like that. Some of the bigger ones. And part of the problem was this satanic cult Bible.
Yep.
So he goes, I told her to put it aside and lock it in glass till I got there, right?
Yeah.
What should she do? She burnt it.
Yeah.
So what you end up doing when you destroy stuff like that, you're letting that demonic entity out, and it's just going to go grab the next poor person, either in the house or in the neighborhood. I don't know where this thing went to, but they supposedly burnt this Bible. They left the deck cards, which I now is in the possession of my haunted collection and permanently down. But I told her, you never, get rid of things. I said, that's what they do on TV, and it really doesn't, because it'll get rid of the book. It burnt the book to shreds. But the spirit doesn't get burnt like on TV. Just go see something else.
Yeah. It has to go somewhere else. Is the object is it's a two gets destroyed, so it has to have somewhere else to go.
Right, that fit didn't destroy the
entity. And that's why, and you know this, there's procedures to acquiring and how to handle items like that.
Correct.
Because
and that's
you can't just destroy them, because if you destroy them, you're destroying the object that's attached to.
Right, and whatever the evil entity is, or parasitic entity, whatever you want to call it, is going to leave that book and go on to the next human being that it comes across. That's all it's going to do. It's going to stick into somebody else.
Yep.
Well, I think too that philosophically, I guess, but I think God casts out the seven falling angels because we as Catholics have to understand the difference between sin and following Jesus. So by allowing this to happen, I think, frankly, that the message is loud and clear that God wants us to understand the differences.
Yeah.
And so he shows them to us with the expectation that we walk from it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Is there a difference between demonic oppression and demonic possession?
Yes, there is.
When I was researching this, it seems to back and
so do what?
When he was researching it, when Bob was researching oppression and demonic oppression, demonic
possession.
It seemed his research kept going back and forth on it, and I'm a little confused.
Yeah. So there is. So the what possession is where it fully takes over victim's body. Oppression is where it is in the stage of breaking down intellect and will of the victim for possession to take place. And I get to that when one of the later questions about demonic oppression and obsession, because those two go hand in hand before possession takes place.
Yeah. Is it fair to say, Father, that Satan, out of the seven devils, is the most powerful one?
So out of all, because you have, if you look at it, you remember the seven deadly sins. So you have in demonology, you have a hierarchy. It's where we always teach that in order to understand demonology, you have to understand angelology, because you have to understand the hierarchy of angels to understand how the hierarchy of the demons work. Because you've got the Satan and the other seven, which represent seven deadly sins, and then they run their own underneath that, and the hierarchy goes down, all the way down from there. So, from what is noticed, they're equal when it comes to it, but he is the one above them. But it's like they're equal. He's one up above them at the time, and the rest of them are up there, and they run the one under them. Each one runs their own army, basically.
And when you treat somebody for demonic possession, Father, which demon it is? Or
yes, so the way in a demonologist and mainly exorcist, when you're trained in demonology, the knowledge that is learned differs between. They both have to learn the names and everything, but as an exorcist, you have to learn the names and what the hierarchy is in it. And the reason why is because the fact that when you come into possession and being performed, the Solomon rite is performed, you don't ask it its name. You command it its name. Its name and the hour of departure. So, in order to know who it is, you got to know the name and where it stands in the hierarchy. You can have some that are higher up in the hierarchy, then you can have some of the ones in the lower level of the hierarchy. That's why you have to understand, like I said, the hour of departure and where it's at the hierarchy, so you know who you're dealing with. You can have some times where, and like I said, before I get to that, that's and as a demonologist, in order to know in the home like that, you have to know the names and the hierarchy, because it gives you understanding when it speaks its name. You know who you're dealing with.
Right.
So,
and that
yes,
I agree with. Bob, you keep referring to 8, the fallen 8.
No, Paul. I thought there was 7.
7, yeah.
Because you have the other ones, 10, but there's other ones alongside him.
Mm-hmm. There's over 100 different levels of the demonology.
Because,
when it gets down, breaks down.
Do what?
We break it down. There's over levels of the demons.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh.
100 levels?
Yeah.
So Tom, let me ask you a question. See if the father could jump in here. When you said you've been to demonic on investigations, how do you know what to call in the priest?
Well, actually, to be honest with you, I've never actually called in a priest. I didn't know any at that time that did that. The only people I knew that did it was the demonologists from Rhode Island that I've talked to, and I had them on my show, the Johnson brothers, right. Carl Johns, and Shane's way. It was Shane I brought on this house, and he's the one that used the word parasite. There are lay people out there that work in this field too, and I've usually used the lay ones because I'm not saying they're as bad as what you on TV, and what you on TV isn't always true because the original demonologist to the haunting in Connecticut are personal friends of mine, and I know the story of that one. the Ed and Lorraine Warren case in Connecticut. Yeah. I know the story behind that one. But you have to watch you have to be real careful, Bob, when you're dealing in this stuff. And some of them you don't need priests for. Luckily, the ones I've had to deal with, thank God, I didn't need priests. But I didn't need Shane once because I actually called Paulino, and Paul was in Texas on a case dealing with something, and he gave Shane Surways his name, and that's how we got Shane into this case. And he did a great job, and we worked together and got rid of the thing. The most important thing for me is not to be afraid. I don't know about you, Father, but the biggest thing for me is not to be afraid.
You can't be afraid when it comes to it. Is that you got to stand your ground and be firm, strong in your faith.
Yeah.
When it comes.
Now, my faith, Father, is all over the map. I'll be honest with you. We talked about faith a little bit, Bob. You talked, I went to church every Sunday. I'm a Catholic. I went to all the things. But the guy that was close to me in my life was my grandfather. On my mother's side. He lived right next door. And he was a Jehovah's Witness and a practicing Jehovah's Witness. So I got many different religions through the years. And then I went to a liberal college and studied history, science, and in that you learn a lot about different religions when you're studying history, especially world history. So my vast knowledge of religions has helped the people.
And it's good because you have to. That's why with us, we connect with people in other religions as you never know what type of a case you're going into.
No.
And that's why, we interact with shamans and, like I said, other people, other religions, because, and this is the way it works. You may have a case, you may need them to come in because you don't have no jurisdiction over that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's good to have connections with those people, because they may be able to, help in an area that you may not be able to help in.
That is correct. I had a guy wants to talk. I do a lot of library talks and, public talks, free talks sometimes on other things. And like you do, everybody else, this guy goes to me, well, I knew they were there for trouble. The local public act station was there filming it, so you knew these people were trouble right from when they first got there, right?
Yeah.
They raised their hand. They go. So the only people allowed to deal with demons are priests. Is that correct?
We have pair teams that work alongside us that specialize in working with them. We just teach them the basics on what they need to know to look for signs of it.
Correct. And then
and then the rest of the information we don't give because they don't need that information.
Correct. And then
that is up for us to deal with.
Right.
So we can handle it appropriately.
Right. And they come back there, questioning me what. Well, answer to that was, the only thing that gets rid of a demon is water.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say it's the only thing.
No.
I've seen incense being used. That's you when the minor is performed. There's times where incense is used to bless the home.
Right, and not only
as long sung so I mean,
and not only that. Okay, so right now we're dealing with the church, right?
Yes.
Say you were on somewhere and you got a compelling story and you see it, right? One of the online parents, and they're not Catholic at all. Throwing holy water would be just like get a cup of water and throwing it out on the street. It's not good.
Correct.
Those people don't believe in that.
Yeah, because when it goes back to it, it takes the faith for it to work.
Correct.
If the person doesn't have the faith, then it's just water.
Exactly.
So it's just plain water. So it's going to be effective because they don't have the faith for it to work.
So does Satan then, Father, attack any kind of demographic? I mean, do you find younger people, older people, male, female? Is there a demographic profile?
From what we've seen is that, I mean, really, he don't discriminate when it comes to it. I mean, if whoever he finds as either it be him or any other demonic, whoever they find as a victim, they take that opportunity. So it's not really, you know what I'm saying, whether it male or female. There have been cases where there's been quite a bit of, male victims, and I'll share this. I think a lot of it had to do with, like we were talking about earlier, trauma and things like that. Because if you think about it, I had a conversation with somebody else about this, that, in society, we as men are taught to tough it up. Bottle it up, don't talk about it. And I think what happens is when we go through these traumas and we hold it in and not talk about it, they know that. So which means they feed off that, and that's what they're looking for. So there have been times where there's been were men as victims to the demonic than women, but being, it fluctuates.
Well, that is a societal thing, and it's only starting to change now. Even in the movies we watch, whether they're paranormal, demonic, it doesn't matter. Live action movie, it doesn't matter. Hero, and that's it. It's only now that they're showing that there are PTSD effects that affect men that don't want to talk about it. And the show I could go back right now with it's on TV, the big one is Cobra Kai. Yeah. Every time Daniel LaRusso sees that Cobra Kai logo, he goes down the breakdown. Yeah. I mean, it is a movie, but that it is factual because of the abuse he took from Cobra Kai in the early Karate Kid. Well, I'm using this way we don't affect people sitting at home that will listen to this and have a trigger effect for something we're saying. So I'm trying to use this as a movie. And, Cobra Kai, the signal alone, that turned Daniel into a rampage. Yeah. And now, but before that, men would hide that rampage. Yeah. Take off or, eventually do something that hurts everybody around them.
Exactly. And, and that's where that becomes a problem, too. And, don't want that. And that's where, that's why I brought this topic up, because this is something that is being seen. Mm-hmm. And, and I feel that, when it comes to us going through things in life, just whether, demonic, what I'm saying, right. We need to talk about what's going on.
No, we do.
Because you never know and everything. And that's why I felt that was a very, very good topic to bring up about that.
The other thing is what lived thousands ago, we don't live the same way. I mean, I had a case, they thought it was demonic. Okay.
Yeah.
The first I started, the lady's word is, I got a demon in my house. Well, if I had a dollar bill for every time I got a phone call, I have a demon in my house. I had a brand new Maserati outside.
Exactly.
It was a loving, okay, in Marblehead. It was a sea captain's house, 200 years ago.
Yeah.
But were a loving lady couple, okay, two women married. And this spirit thought was demonic was what it was a PO'd spirit because 200 years ago, women didn't live and sleep together with other women. Well, they did, but it was very out in the woods, not downtown Marblehead.
So exactly,
So I mean, that's the other thing we deal with this stuff is any other thing. And luckily, it doesn't affect me, but I've seen it affect many of my clients. It affects differently. All these medications doctors are putting you on for this and the other thing. I mean, sooner. I mean, I've gone to cases and which is where really there's been 28 bottles of pills or more on someone's bureau. Not going to look for these things. Just when you're walking around the house, you walk around the house, you're doing your readings, and you checking things up, and right in front of you on the rest is 28 bottles of pills.
Yeah. Exactly, and when we were talking about that earlier, about the process, to know between possession and the other is because you have to look for things like that when going to the home. Because you're we first talk with the client, come at their word, but you're going in, in that skeptical mindset. Try to debunk it
right
until you can get evidence otherwise. And that is why even me, when I go to a client's home, aware of my surroundings, besides looking for the signs of it, just kind of being aware of what's going on. If there's something logical that's going on in home that could be causing stuff.
Right, you have everything.
You have to.
Pills, videos, arcade games, video games, whatever they're calling them today. Yeah. I mean, you got to look at everything.
Because it's not always demonic.
No.
Or paranormal. It could be something logical causing it.
Right. Or a wrong mixture of medications done by the doctor, not by them themselves. We're keeping the client clean. The client is just following the rules. But 28 medications. Going to be side effects in the case should you take.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm on different ones for different things.
Taking medications and drinking alcohol. That plays a part in things. Too. So I mean, there's, like I said, there is a lot of stuff that goes into it that you have to take consideration.
And every medication out there, from Tylenol to metformin, which I take for diabetes, to glipizide, to some of this I take for my stuff, all says do not consume alcohol.
Yeah.
Now, in like 20 pills, probably all 20 pills say the same thing. Do not consume with alcohol, and then you find a little nip here, a little nip there, or open up the door and there's a wine cabinet.
Yep.
So, I mean,
let me ask you this question. We've all talked about Ouija boards over the
yes.
We've all been on investigation where Ouija boards have been used and so forth. But if a Ouija board, Father, can open up a portal for demons, and it can also open up a portal spirits. Do spirits and demons cross paths sometime?
They can, because from what it is, if you look at it to a theological mindset, that in the spirit realm on the other side, there's no space to it. So with that being the case, and it being, the spirit realm and everything, you're going to, if you're having human spirit, you're going to have other. And there's no question about it's that. And that is why we always say, be careful when you start making them, whether it even though Ouija boards are known to be open portals for demonic. So can using a recorder or whatever else.
And
that you got to be careful.
Right.
But the reason why with weed boards, things like that, is because you're not hearing what's coming through. First and foremost, it's you're just seeing what's being on a board. That's it.
Right, and for our friends, Father, one other quick thing I wanted to add this, because we're talking about Ouija boards, and for our friends in England, a lot of people in England do not use Ouija board. They call it glass divination. It's the same thing. So our friends in England that are listening, glass divination is the same thing. So sorry about that, Father. I just wanted to make sure for the overseas people, we touch on that too. So, because
it's that when you mess with whether it be divination, Ouija boards, whatever, there's always going to be consequences that come out of it. You start speaking and communicating with the other side, you got to be careful because you never know what can come through.
Correct. And every so often when a big singer or rapper, someone dies, they want to grab a Ouija board and go, let's go contact so-and-so because they passed away. Or let's go contact Grandma. I'm missing Grandma. Let's go contact Grandma. Well, if you leave the portal open, it's like leaving the door open in the wintertime around New England. If it's below zero out, the heating bill's going to go through the roof because your doors are wide open. Same thing when you put Ouija board.
One of the things I always tell is when you're in the grief stage, your loved one passes, or a friend, never make communication. Never. Because when you're in that stage, you're leaving yourself vulnerable and open to the possibility of something like the demonic to come through and take advantage of that. And that is why we always say never communicate with the dead while in grieving stage. Because you're taking that risk of something might not want to come through and take advantage of it.
Yeah, it might not be Grandma coming through. It might be something ugly.
If something coming through, it not be Grandma.
Right.
So,
Let me ask a question, because we've all dealt with mediums over the years, right?
Yeah.
And I've always asked the question: when a medium reaches out and can, through I think it's energy, make contact with a loved.
Yeah.
How does a medium father know they're talking to a demon?
That is something that's got my question too, to be honest. Balls. I mean, I've to be honest, I've spoken with one medium in my life, and other than that, I hadn't had that, that good, to have a full blown on conversation with them about that. And so really, one thing to me is, to be honest, I don't know, because, especially if I haven't had a full blown on, had that conversation with them, how do they know? And everything. I try to stay in my lane when it comes to that. So, because I'm not going to assume, what I'm saying, and say the wrong thing when I haven't, haven't asked them how do they pursue it. Now, can I say that there are that are legit, that are mediums? Yes. But I view it as a gift from God. But It's that, we know that there are fake ones out there too. Because there are legit ones. But, I've talked to very, like at least one real medium in my life. So, to really have that 100% question, answer the question, I can't say that because, I haven't had that opportunity to really speak more about it with them. And the last one that I spoke to, God bless his, he passed away. A buddy of mine from the UK that was a paranormal investigator. So, other than that, I haven't really got to really have a chance to speak with any more of them.
All right. So in your what is the difference between a human spirit, a ghost, an inhuman spirit, or
angel and demon? So with that, human spirit, or what we know as a ghost, is someone that used to walk this earth in a human form, which used to be obviously a human being.
Correct.
Before they passed. A demon and an angel never walk this earth in a human form. They are pure spirit. So the difference between the two is angels and demons, they have higher intellects than us. They understand how to comprehend things more than we can. They have their own energies because they're pure spirit. We, human spirits, ghosts, that's why when you go into locations, you see it, they're feeding off light sources and other energy, because ghosts have to have some sort of energy source to manifest. Mm-hmm. And that's the main one. So due to that, a ghost, they've got to have their own, so their energy source to help manifest. Like with another difference between it is with a ghost, they from what I've seen on it, they know things and they remember things, but it's of only an extent from what they stand and know. Mm-hmm. Unlike with the demonic and angels, them being pure spirit and having higher intellects, they're able to know more. They can't, they don't know anything like God does, but they have a higher intellect, meaning they know more about things than they do. Like when it comes to on what other side, like how easy way I want to be is, for example, if with the they understand everything from when it's a little seed to a sapling all the way up to a full-grown tree, but and what it's source, everything goes into it. Animals, they understand everything about animals, so it's the higher intellect that is able for them to comprehend things and understand that. In order to understand, they have to watch what we do. That's why you remember I was mentioned earlier about with possession of knowing things about your past, things like that. Yeah, that is because it is in order for the demonic to know that, they watch us and observe us on what we do. So whenever we do things like that, and we sin, or it could be in general, it may not be temptation. Whenever we sin, they're watching us, and by observing us and watching us, they see what our weaknesses are, what our strengths are, things like that, and they understand that. So they try to use that against us. Does it make sense?
Yeah,
It does.
And yeah, I think that unfortunately we've seen over the last many years that faiths and denominations, religion is to hit. I mean,
yes.
we that the younger generation, which concerns me terribly because I have grandchildren, are not as religious as we were. I went to a Catholic school,
Yeah.
but I think that when we don't have Jesus in our hearts, that we open us up for this type of
yes, exactly, exactly, and that's right, because when we take God out of things and take Jesus out of everything, and we don't have in our lives as much, it is causes, like I said, they not, because they're around a lot longer than we have, so they know quite a bit. And it's that they know when we don't, and by doing that, it use that against.
Right. But what are the different types? We talked about demonic possession and demonic oppression, but what are different types of activity?
So you have two types of demonic activity. You have what's called ordinary demonic activity and extraordinary demonic activity. Ordinary activity is what we know as temptation. So that's where they get this into doing things or try things. And extraordinary demonic activity is where they infest the home. They oppress the person. It goes through infesting, oppression, upset, and possession. So once it infests, it's suppressing it, where it starts to attack them physically and everything, biting them, scratching them, doing things to break down the body to where they're not in sleep, but proper sleep, and they just exhausted beyond. And then after that, obsession takes into place, is where the person starts to hear voices, things like that, to the point where that's where, like I said, it mimics mental illness, because, multiple personality disorder, things like that.
Right.
So what happens is once it starts going into the obsession stage, the person starts to hear voices, hear it talk, communicate with them, and it's like, don't go say nothing, so it's just trying to keep the victim secluded from everybody. And once obsession takes full, that's where it takes place. That is done where the intellect and will of the individual is eradicated. And then after the intellect and will is eradicated is when possession takes place. Because for possession to take place, it has to be given permission to do it.
Well, Father, thank you very much. This has been an awesome show today.
Welcome.
You know what? I don't want to put you on the spot for the bit. Could the three of us just end this tonight with a prayer for all that are best, that they get healthy again and be able to fight these demons and devils?
Oh, definitely. I will start out with the cycle prayer. Saint Michael the Archangel, defend battle against the wickedness and snares of the devil, by Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell, Satan, all evil spirits, proud the world, ruin of souls. Amen. Dear Lord.
Amen.
Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us all through this here tonight, talk with our guests, dear Lord. And bless us to be able to have a restful sleep tonight and a restful night and a great day tomorrow as well. And dear Lord, please help all those that are through struggles, trials, tribulations. and everything, dear Lord. Help them and help guide them to seek help, dear Lord, to get these struggles off their chest, dear Lord. Be open and so forth, the Lord, and help them, us, the poor, the sick, and all those that are going through struggles. Amen.
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 And
Well, let me say this to you, my closing comments to you, and God bless for what you do to fight.
Thank you so much.
evil,
And
the Catholic
it's an
Church,
honor being
and
here
God.
tonight. And I would actually like to say as well, I am certified in counseling, and I do offer that for free. So to the public as well. So I just wanted to make that on as well.
Yeah, and what we always tell our listeners is that they can send an email to me at paranormalnh@yahoo.com if they have questions and comments and so on.
Yeah.
And certainly you're very busy, but we will end them, and if you don't mind, we will pass them along to you as they come in.
Sounds great. That would be great.
All right. And we're going to love to have you. We're going to have you back on the show because this is a great show. We just
yes,
touched surface of demonology tonight.
Oh, yes.
All right, then. I want to, Father, for coming on tonight. Thank you, Father, very much.
You're very welcome.
And I hope you have a great Thanksgiving and great holiday season.
Thank you, and you well.
I will. And I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight from all over the United States, South America, Canada, and over the big lake and over there, England and Scotland and then beyond. And I want to wish everybody... Across the pond, yes. And I want to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. And just one shout out, the Essex County Ghost Project will be the Buttonwoods Festival of Trees. We have a tree in there. We have a wreath in there. And that's going to start this Friday and run for the next 2.5, 3. So check that out at button.org. I want everybody for tuning in. Thank you and have a great night. Good night, everybody.